Well, this is a challenge. I have a full sheet of watercolor paper and I can't even really fit it onto the screen. So this gives you most of the painting and we'll just have to move it as we go. I really wanted to paint my waterfall scene even bigger. Full sheet of watercolor, full freedom to work large, simplify my shapes, and really get to the heart of my painting. So we're gonna work from top to bottom. I don't know how this is gonna go, but we're gonna just give it a try and find out. And I wanna start, I think, with just some loose wet and wet. We're gonna get that sky down. I'm working on a full sheet. That's a 22 by 30 inch piece of Kilimanjaro watercolor paper. And my brush is so big it doesn't even fit in my palette. So we're just gonna get the very basic sky color down, and for some reason I keep picking up a muddy green. We're gonna work with it. I want this to feel loose. I want it to feel relaxed and free. And I want to make this all about beautiful fluid watercolor and the powerful shapes of the waterfall. So the sky is really secondary here. That doesn't mean it shouldn't be there at all though, because if I left my sky blank, it probably would stand out as not fitting with the rest of the painting. Now the first thing I think I'm gonna need to tilt a little bit. Let's just put a inch or two up with a little bowl placed under the top edge of the paper. And let's go right into our mountain color. A little bit of blue, a little bit of cobalt violet deep. And it's going to be a wet and wet mountain because my sky is wet. And I want an atmospheric look. One thing I've done before I ever started this painting was I spent some time studying the original. I haven't actually looked at the reference photo today, just the earlier version that I did in a little bit more of a realistic style. I do not want to copy my reference photo. I really want to feel loose and relaxed and free to be my own artist here. And so that means kind of letting go of crutches and really trying to work from the heart. We've got some distant trees that line up with the top of the waterfall. We're going to put that here. I'm going to leave that line of trees there. And I feel so a little bit lost, a little bit scared, and that is okay. I don't know how to paint this. I have never painted it this way in this version before. So it is all new, and that is okay. That's going to be our lake. I want some strong lines. I think I want some fluidity too. Let's fill in a little bit of watery movement here. And then let's start trickling our waterfall down. We're going to go this way, and I've just made a little path of water. Let's follow it and see where it goes. We need cascading white water, and we also need color to indicate the form. Can't have one without the other. So the trick here is not overdoing it. I'm just going to try to focus on that pretty watery trail. I'm just going back and forth with water right now, softening a little bit here and there. I'm going to touch in some of those greens. A little bit there, a little bit there, a little bit along the edge. Every now and then I look back at my first version of this scene. Again, the reference photo not in sight. Some spatter. Once I have those base colors picked, I'm really just thinking about the value patterns. How do I use those colors to make paths of light and dark value in the scene? Now I want to start showing the rocks, but I don't want to paint them really dark yet. So I'm just going to use the hint of brownish rock color right now to kind of start placing those colors. And I'm going to try to work with a lot of softness, because any edges that I create, I'm going to have to either incorporate into the painting or find a way to cover. It's very hard to cover sharp edges. Some things that I liked in the painting were the dry brush, pulling the brush, in the previous painting, pulling the brush through the over top of the water just a little bit gave us a hint of texture, and so I'm trying to do that in this one as well. I also like this swath of green. That was our mossy bank. And it supported our trees as well. Let's try to position some trees here. And there's a hard edge here that I have to now cover and work around. And that's my lack of planning. Sometimes when you want a fresh approach, you lose it a little bit because of a lack of planning. We'll see if I can actually still make this work, even though I didn't make space or leave room for some of these shapes to come in front of some of the lines I'd already placed. I might be able to make it work. Look at how beautiful that rich color is. One thing I'm really wanting to do in this painting is simplify. So we're going to go right into some of that contrast, strong darks created by two colors, the Sodalite Genuine and the Burnt Bronzite Genuine. Another color that works really well for these warm rock tones is Venetian Red. So that's half of the painting done, and I say done, but it's a loose term. Half of the painting has paint on it, but that doesn't mean it's done. We are going to move over to this side and try to establish some of those major shapes in the same spirit in which we place the shapes on this side. Yep, that's what we're going to do. Oh, look at this marks my brush made just by accident. I love them. Really cool. In fact, they're so cool. I'm just choosing a new direction right now. I just added some Verditer blue into my rocks here just because I kind of want to leave this white space, at least until I've figured out how to develop and still keep some of that stuff that I like. I think sometimes you're working on a painting and you have this messy unfinished stuff and you think, how can Angela make it look so messy and unfinished and beautiful? Mine just looks like a kindergartner tried to scribble it. And I don't really have the answer except for that time and experience and confidence play a huge role. One of the reasons we love to emulate a kindergartner's effortlessness is that they do make it look effortless. They have a way of making those little scrawls that they do look so cute. And I think it comes from their confidence. That little childish play, that it speaks to us. It connects with us in some way that feels personal. So, you know, these marks here that I'm feeling are really exciting. They come from that same place, from the same place that the kindergartner's marks come from. Confidence, joy, it's just continuing the conversation. Nancy Hillis calls it the raw immediacy of your work, and I like that, this immediacy that's saying, I'm in the moment. The only thing that matters is just right now and how I'm connecting to my work right now, the brush strokes that are going on the paper right now, and the passion that I'm investing in my work. So again, here it says that transparency that lets the background show through, maybe not in a way that I'd planned for. I'm going to continue working at this and seeing how I can adapt my plan. One way you can hide those marks, hopefully, is going darker. So I'm trying to go a little darker here. Really trying not to lose that, my kindergarten confidence that says, you know, there's a passion I'm investing here that's really beautiful and exciting. I think some mark making here could be very fun. Just working with my cobalt teal, see what I can add to the water. It's still quite wet in most of the water here, so anything I add is going to bleed in places and stand out in others. There's also some rocks up here. Let's place those with confidence. The confidence we may not always feel. That's okay, we get to fake it. Really liking the marks in here. I don't know if they read Waterfall, and I don't have to know that. I can just enjoy what they do represent. There's some really beautiful little moments in there. Just the pleasure and beauty of watercolor. Something I've always loved about the Sodalite Genuine is the way the blue undertones come out as it dries. So I'm going to enhance that by using some Verditer blue to create my own undertones. There's Verditer blue, same blue over here. I'm just using it in a darker value over here. And even if it seems like I'm covering up a lot of the burnt bronzite genuine, a lot of it's still showing through that warm undertone, and then I can always pull more in, just like I'm doing right here. Now, as I've painted, this is a 140 pound, 300 GSM Kilimanjaro cold press watercolor paper. So it is rippling quite a bit as I paint. I do not pre-stretch my paper just because I'm always in a hurry to paint. I don't like taking the time to do the prep work. I just want to paint. And also I found that when you put that time into prep, sometimes that can make your painting feel really precious, because you don't want to wreck a painting that you've spent time readying to paint. You know, when you have that time invested, it just feels way more important. So I really like just going right in and painting. It helps me feel a little freer to make a mistake, to explore and experiment, to be a bit more adventurous, hopefully. And that usually is going to benefit my painting. And there's so much energy happening in here that I'm really liking. I'm actually going to stop right now though, because I want to give this painting a life, and it needs me to recognize the life that's in it already. So there's stuff that's not working. This whole upper part needs to be pulled together to be cohesive with what's happening in here. But I love the way things are moving into this part of the painting and starting to move down this way as well. I think we can work with that in some really cool ways. But again, I don't want to invest too much too soon without giving my brain a chance to think, without getting to know the scene. And that just is the work of time. And I've learned that as in my many years as a painter. I am putting just a few little trees, I couldn't resist. There's a lot of, this particular location has a lot of actually forest fire damage. And so there's a lot of dead trees. So I'm placing those this time. Sometimes I ignore them. I use my poetic license, my artistic license to imagine them away. But this time I felt like maybe it would be fun to kind of see some of those fallen trees and put them into the scene. So I'm giving my brain a break to catch up, to see the beautiful little magical things, and to also see the problem areas and figure out how to develop them further. There's the top part I'm struggling with.